Well, during this conversation, I was just going back to realize, what about childhood? You know, and I was realizing I kind of grew up in a life in which you kind of looked to a higher power and prayed for what you wanted, and were not sure whether you were going to get it, kind of feeling. And I would say that generally I had an optimistic nature, but I discovered as I kind of emerged into adulthood that I really didn't know what was what, didn't know what I could trust or count on. And it was just up to me to try and make sense and live life. And it was interesting for me that when I soon began practice of meditation, I learned transcendental meditation, became a teacher of that quite soon, that quickly something shifted where I came into a quality of trust that I would call trust in nature, trust in life. And that capacity of trust emerged into, oh, I can manifest what I want. And that there are ways to have intention, if it's the highest intention, and if I'm the best person I can be, to kind of create an outcome that I was hoping for and wanting, typically in the direction of evolution or in development and awakening for me, but also just in generally in life. And when I'm teaching people coming into this kind of work that we're doing, I find that most people are typically experiencing a lot of fear and non-trust in life and not knowing how to make it. And I would say that that was something I know personally, but also that thread of trust. But it was trust in life, trust in consciousness, trust in life supporting my desires. And it was quite a shattering experience when life gave me something that I wasn't expecting and wasn't able to handle and didn't make sense and crushed all of my kind of hope, expectations, and confidence in life. And mysteriously, that break that I went through led me into the kind of embodied, conscious embodied awakening work that we do, that brought about a shift that, I think we'll talk about next, about what is it like in this whole being realization and what is trust there.
Thank you. Yeah, I love this possibility that trust actually can be part of what's pulling us forward. Yeah.
Just want to note that I really appreciate you commenting on this isn't something to grasp and understand, because it's not a belief. Trust in being and trust is not about belief. It's actually about a discover of an underlying way that we know and are related to and can count on life in its support of us. So it's beautiful to say that, because it's fine for people to be not trusting. That's part of how we meet ourselves as we are. It's just that it's very beautiful to know that that angst that most of us have felt in one way or another has a possible shift when we drop into our whole being nature. And for me, that shift wasn't something I believed in, even though I'd been so successful in manifesting in my earlier stages of my life. I couldn't grasp this and didn't know how to make that happen. So when it did shift by leaning into this work in a continual way, in all the ways that we do, working with teachers and mentors and various retreats, the shift occurred. And it occurred for me in a moment in which it was really clear that it occurred. And what I found was that there was a way that it was okay to be me for the first time. It was still largely not okay to be me in certain ways, but fundamentally it was. And that was the beginning of a process of my whole being awakened nature, beginning then to have the ground to integrate into. So the shift of awakening into realizing consciousness, embodiment, and non-separate interconnectedness that this whole being realization reflects was also me, my ordinary me, with my challenges and fears. Only beautifully, I found this ground. It was okay to be me for the first time in such a clear way. And so I did love all the dimensions of the awakened nature, and it was confusing to have those coexisting with finite ordinary, limited parts of me. It was like, oh no, it's gone. Oh no, but it hasn't. This back and forth. So it gave me a ground from the beginning of a sense of, oh, I can trust life in the way that it's okay to be me. I can trust being me, even though it was overshadowed by it's not okay to be me, parts of that feeling that I had. But it was fundamentally true. And it gave me a ground to live while being overshadowed at various points by this sense of not being enough or not being okay being me or life not being safe. But fundamentally, knowing this other, always available. But one of the things over this that I'd heard about was as a kind of a reflection of finding an integrated state of this awakening, that we learn in this work that it can take months and years. The shift occurs, but then it can take months and years to really get well integrated in that realized condition. So I was enjoying the process and interested in the confusion that also coexisted, but overall, quite a quality of wellness and stability. But I do remember a point when I was thinking about, to become an interning teacher, there was something, about in the questions for the application to apply, something about trust in being. And I realized, I'm not sure if that's fully, if I feel fully confident at all times in it. And so it was interesting for me carrying that question to notice after a few years, there was a point, and I remember it well now, 3 years in, when the shift occurred and I realized, oh yeah, it's always there. Meaning not that it wasn't always there before, but that distraction or that association with non-trust, kind of would flare up. But it was beautiful to find this established ground in which the fluctuations of my individuality and my limits could continue, but not bring any question to that quality of trust that I then was living and experiencing in a continual way from that point onward.
Yeah, thank you for that, Rod. I love the articulation of the process of having this profound recognition of being the okayness of being you, but then the oscillating in and out of that being more conscious and less conscious, to finally saying, oh yeah, this is just true, and really living there. So I love that illumination. Thank you for that.